If anything, I understand what a neg is less the longer that we've talked about it. This is my money laundering.
And now Melody understands money laundering even less.
Oh no!
We're out of ore. She is at the very bottom.
I'm in the magma at this point. I'm Melody Carlisle.
And I'm Sabrina Bradley.
And this is Heaving Bosoms. This is the podcast where best friends recap romance novels and other kissing media that makes us swoon, snark, and refills our cups.
Whether you've read the book or are coming in blind, we'll lay bare every delicious scene and revel in the tropes and subgenres that make romance amazing.
All right, listener, strap in and strap on. Headphones are highly recommended.
And so as a coping mechanism, we do Christmas movies that are...
If you make a wish this Christmas, make it last, make it true.
Okay.
If you make a wish this
Literally,
Christmas,
my
true love will come
first
to you.
note on this entire movie was, what the fuck is this opening song?
If you make a wish this Christmas.
Is this a real song?
I mean, I assume they made it for the movie. So there are a
that's
couple
what I
of things
thought, too.
about this. I have some understanding, honestly, less than I should, of sync licensing. And so I can tell you, one of the things that was fun for me is that I'm like, I get it. You had someone write this song in like MIDI. Like they used it so many times. It's opening credits, which is like typically more expensive. It's closing credits, more expensive. And they had a character interact with it.
Yeah.
Check.
It might be the only song in the movie.
Nope. I have a note. I have a note.
Okay, there's one other song.
I have a note. There's one other song during montage because last night I was like, I need to review again. I've been so busy this week, as you guys heard earlier. So at one point I was just like, fuck it. I'll turn on the audio while I'm doing stuff at work.
Sure, yeah.
Because it was like physical. So I was listening to the audio and it was just like that song and that song and that song. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I realized, there's another song. It's also bad.
What's that one?
I should see if I can. I'm sorry, I just see all caps. He sings the whole stupid fucking Wish song.
He sings the entire Wish song. And a lot of time, and it's not syncopated. Like, wait, syncopated? It's not
synced
not
up.
The same. Synced up. That's right.
Hey, listener, welcome to Heaving Bosoms.
Oh shit.
Hello,
I'm Sabrina.
Where Sabrina and Melody recap romance books, sometimes with other friends. And today, Nick is here. Hi.
Nick is here.
Hello. I'm sorry for what you're going to feel compelled to listen or watch.
And Nick is not only a friend, but we're doing this recording specifically because she's a competence boner patron, and you get a recording with that tier.
And Nick wanted Christmas movie this year.
Hell
so
yeah.
So this is Nick's fault.
We are doing Christmas Crush, and it was a journey that I'm still not sure.
It was a journey just to get to Christmas Crush.
Yes, that's also true. Our group chat was very chaotic, as one might guess.
We've all been like in a place. So bit of a
tough stuff.
Wild ride.
Tough stuff. But it doesn't matter because we're here now, and this is on Hulu's. And it features some really amazing people like Cheekbones the heroine and Quizzical Brow the hero. Also,
and Crazy Eyes, the alternative dimension hero. Oh my God, I love him so much.
My name for him is Crazy Eyes, the Hitler Youth haircut. Yes, a serious Hitler Youth haircut.
It's so real. Oh no. Oh, the worst part is that you're right. Oh no. He seems like such a lovely human, like the actor, not the character. The character there keep being like, he's the sweetest guy. And I'm like, he's legit stalking you. Stop doing this.
Creepo. But don't worry, it's her fault. She brought this on herself, my friends.
She did. Well, and you're right though. The actor
that was sarcasm, by the way.
What? I was going to say, I have a whole hot take about that because the whole movie, they're like, yeah, you did this to yourself. He'll know it's my fault. And I'm like, you were casually saying wish words.
Yeah.
Did you not notice that, Melody? She says it like 4 or 5 times about how it's her fault.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I rolled that into like, it's her burden to undo it or whatever.
No, it was literal sarcasm when I said it because like, this was not her fault. I
if
cannot believe fault,
it was Mrs. Motley, who is a glorious human. But I was like, Mrs. Motley... You
How
needed
do you
to
feel
be
about
a
my best friend.
I'm so sorry.
I love
Mrs.
her.
Motley is this movie's Christmas crone, and I'm in love with her.
Yes, she is fantastic.
You know how happy I would be to live next door to her?
Was it next door or was it across the hall at an airport Holiday Inn?
She lives across the hall. And it was definitely at a hotel, which is my favorite thing about the movie.
Same here.
Okay, we are actually being chaos monsters. I'm so sorry. I do want to actually, because listening back to Saving Verico, I was like, well, I know where that goes in the plot. But if you do not have, not just like you will have had to read the book before this, but it's like you will have had to read the book and really map out that plot in your mind, or possibly on physical notes that you thereafter studied. And that just feels like asking a lot of listener, and listener does not deserve to be demanded of when they're trying to have joy times.
That's true. They're just trying to do their fucking dishes.
So, and I did actually, yes, last night I got home very late and I still was like, we're watching movie. And I like turned on movie and at like 2 points I fell asleep and my roommate was like, are you asleep? And I was like, I'm still listening. No. I'm totally still listening.
If you make a wish this Christmas.
So I have some very weird notes.
Fair enough. So this movie opens with this heinous song that they've been singing multiple times.
Do you want me to keep going?
Hold on, I did write out so that I could distract myself from the pain.
If you make a wish this Christmas.
Wait, you're skipping my favorite part.
What is it?
Christmas time is coming soon.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
That's right.
Best line. December 25th.
Yeah.
We know. Why is this a lyric? Why are you like this?
What's after December 25th?
What's the point of Christmas time?
Yes.
Got no one to spend it with.
What's the point of Christmas if you've got no one to spend it with? How dare you come at my jugular like that? What are you doing?
Married person, you can eat my whole dick.
I was just going to say, I'm the only person here with a partner. You can fuck off, Melody.
No, but I mean, like, I mean, in general, like at the human jugular.
Oh, okay.
So
if you're trying to speak for, I think you could have left room for one of the other humans who actually might have a moment.
This is a safe space, and I'm taking several seats. I'm very sorry. Speaking from my partnered privilege, as if it is a privilege.
I did, in fact, listen to this song, and it sung that part, and I was like,
it's so mean.
I was very much. It was the second verse. Hold on. Take a walk in Christmas air. Twinkle lights against the snow. Who will be waiting there for you? And then there's like so much pause underneath the mistletoe. And I'm like, why? First of all, big pause is like, who'll be waiting for you?
Yeah, think about it. And I'm just
like picturing myself at like a train station.
Yeah.
Like, with my bags in the snow. The twinkle lights
your mental Rolodex. Like, who can I call to come pick me up?
And I'm like, right. I'm alone in this world. Thank you for helping me with that information.
Truly, get ready. Watch Christmas Crash and have an existential crisis about your loneliness.
Small side plot, listener. We almost accidentally watched Christmas Perfection.
Yes.
The problem, because there was some, like, I was very excited, and I do think this movie is perfect in its horrible way. And so in my head, it was Christmas Perfection. But I did say, like, okay, Christmas Perfection is behind a paywall, and I don't want anyone to have to, like, spend money during the holidays.
Sure.
And two, Christmas Perfection is a great movie. So if you feel like going behind that paywall, it is worth it. It is just a Christmas movie about a woman having a nervous fucking breakdown in like a twee way. She gets sucked into her Christmas village. Sorry,
I have seen this. No, I have seen it before.
She gets sucked into her Christmas village and she's like, this is so much better than real life.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to leave. And her best friend comes in after her and is like, we gotta go. You're
get
being
out of
eaten
here.
by a different tiny universe. And these people are not real. Like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, no, listen, this is better.
It's so
This is
good
much
here.
better.
I love my
So
perfect Christmas
I thought
village.
this one was going to be slightly less like emotionally assaulting. And then I forgot about who will be waiting there for you. And you're like, oh man, that was really rough. And then the song plays 5 more times in the movie, one of which is like, it's playing in the background while man who is adorable and wonderful,
Adorable.
but cannot sing,
No.
is singing over it in a way that
Over
makes me think that
around it. Like
near
he's
it, adjacent to it,
He's not.
above it.
It might not be
below
the same
it.
song. It's definitely not at the same time.
I was really thinking they did not play. Did they not play this like in the room with him
to
so
have-
they could pipe it in? Because the sound would be bad if they played it in that room. And I didn't. I was looking for a headphone.
Honestly, that scene is better if he's just reading it off of a teleprompter in the back of the room. There's not actually any sound, especially like the people in the background, like looking at each other,
yeah.
like, wow, this is so good.
Do you think
It's
that's
just
the day they
dead
wrote it? They wrote it
silent.
on set and they were
my
just holding
God.
up cue cards.
Yes.
And do you think every single weird cut is because he was like, who will be waiting there for
Why
you?
would I
like
say
the
that?
actor's like, that's a horrendous thing to say. And he's
That's
trying to
bleak.
make like an argument to be like,
All right.
maybe we shouldn't include this in our Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we get on to plot? We haven't even made it past opening baking scene.
Wait, yeah. P.S. I am so sorry about this. She is baking homemade blueberry muffins before work for her coworkers. What the fuck is this?
I did have a note of that. Like, I wake up less than an hour before I have to be places.
When I had to go to an
right?
office, I would like roll out of bed and be like, oh no, I'm about to miss my train. And then hoof it. Like, who gets up
Who's
and
going to be
bakes?
waiting there for you?
Heaving Bosoms podcast at gmail.com. Yeah. So
like she gets up, she does do that thing. And then she, like, it's been a long time since I've watched a Christmas movie, period. But like, I feel like she had a level of Christmas cheer.
It was not okay.
And festiveness that
no.
If that was my neighbor, I would actively be like looking out the peephole until I was sure they were gone.
Like Crazy Eyes, the Hitler Youth haircut, except the opposite.
Yeah.
His best scenes are looking through that peephole with that wrapping paper over the fire escape sign.
Is that what that was?
Yes!
It's that there's a fire exit sign on the door because they're clearly filming in a hotel.
It's incredible.
That was such a fancy hotel, though. I did have questions about whether it was a hotel.
Okay, maybe it was an airport Marriott, but it was.
Let me say it was not fancy. I'm saying it was big. Like, those rooms were big.
Well, no, those are sound
honey,
stages.
Those are stages.
Yeah, so they would do all the hallway scenes.
The internal footage. They're filming this is okay, Sabrina. We're gonna blow your mind. Most of the time, you see an exterior in a film.
They don't
That's
go
a location.
into that place. They don't walk in
But then
there.
they film somewhere where they can map that either cameras are already mounted or all the rigging's there for wherever they want to put that shit.
Face.
Listener, you can't see this, I assume, but Sabrina is giving shock.
No, every single time they were filming in that hallway, there were just 2 double beds behind them.
Yes, you can tell because the doors. You can tell it's not apartment because doors are too close together.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they're long, skinny apartments.
Sorry,
I mean,
hon.
that would be highly unusual. So it could be a very unusual situation.
These doors are so close together that the first time I watched this movie, yes, I did review it twice. I thought Crazy Eyes, the Hitler Youth haircut, went into the same door when he moves in. I thought with the next scene was going to be her going, "Bah, why are you in my house?" But instead, he was just moving into his new apartment.
We can get there because we're already here. I'm going to mention this.
With the boxes?
With the boxes.
Mover person.
Okay, so Hitler Youth haircut man is named Pete, by the way. Pete. The love interest's name is Sam.
Yeah,
the
that's
main
Quizzical Brow,
character,
the hero.
Who is like, I don't know if they made her in a lab, but that is one of Addie Anderson because her friend's name is Drea Andrews.
Yeah, what is that also?
I'm not totally sure. Also, most of the time it sounded like she was saying Jaya.
Yes.
And then finally I was like, oh, is Drea the whole time?
Oh, it's Drea. All right. Cool, man.
These notes are half untrue, so that's fine. I'm not going
and that's blonde hair is the BFF in my notes.
I have never had an issue with this movie. I did, in fact, watch it only one time, but I do watch with subtitles. So,
fair. You're
what
smarty.
A goddamn genius.
I will say I did just realize
things.
Mel said she watched this twice, and I just remembered that you were texting yesterday. This is happening. So I am going to, again, have to apologize because I think I did this with Saving Verica too, where I was like, what do you mean? But then I remember the timeline, and I'm like, okay, watching this twice within the last less than 24 hours is actually quite impressive because one would think you slept at some point during that time. So that was a decent chunk of your waking hours.
So my poor father-in-law, he comes on the day that was yesterday, and he listener doesn't need to know exactly when we're recording.
You're good. Nope.
I just suddenly realized that you did watch it twice in one day.
Yeah. So yesterday, my father-in-law comes, this poor man, and he arrives while I'm in the middle of the film. And so then we like go pick up my kids and like we're hanging around and I can't stop going like it's just in the car all the time. And then I have to explain to him what I'm doing and he's like, okay. That was me all yesterday.
You were scatting Christmas wish.
It was. I couldn't get it out of my head. And it might be better than Who's Gonna Be Waiting for You, you alone fucker.
That's a very good point.
That's what the lyrics should have actually been. You sad piece of shit. Lay down in the snow.
I'm having a great time, but I also was like, I need to not be a chaos monster this time. So I'm bringing us back to opening montage, which is baking. I wanted to pay enough attention to, we are in opening. We have not gotten to dialogue. We have not seen characters' face yet.
No, we don't know about those
where we're at in plot.
Oh, I'm sorry. When she anoints the Christmas crone with a wreath,
did she not hear that door open? She's blatantly looking down.
Okay, so here's what happens, listener. She comes out of her hotel room and then she crosses
with her fresh muffins in the most Christmassy basket you have ever seen. Christmas.
And so her whole door is done. And like when we walk into the snow globe that is her apartment later, like I would not, this is a red flag. I'm so sorry, everyone. Red fucking flag. I
have things to say about it, but I want us to get to reading Mrs. Motley.
I know. So Mrs. Motley, she goes over to Mrs. Motley's door, not to offer her muffins, but instead to be like, you're falling down on your Christmas decorations, bitch. I'm putting a wreath on your door.
It is said very clearly that Mrs. Motley had made a comment that she's run out of time, which, like, what does Motley do with all of her time?
She croons around.
Like
she's great.
Sex times, actually.
She's
just she starts recounting her lovers that she's wished into her life, which we'll talk more about later.
She's a Christmas magic white lady. You know, she's got a white lady guide all the people about Christmas
Single
magic.
universe. Do you think she's Christmas crone?
Yes,
because Christmas crone can disguise herself, so she might be actual Christmas.
This is what I just said. She is the Christmas crone of this movie.
I thought you meant she was giving energy. I'm saying literally. Do you think she is Christmas crone?
Yes, from a night to remember.
You.
Nope, from a night before Christmas.
The night before Christmas.
That's the one. It's on Netflix.
Y'all, it's spelled with a K. Just
this is the same crone that gets gone down on by dinosaurs. This is the same one.
Woo, that's a deep cut. All right.
Sabrina's very
Sabrina, did you not listen to that episode 27 times?
Did you not?
It did have sound issues, so it could be under-listened to.
Maybe. Did it have sound issues?
It was the one with the beatboxing. Yeah. It was. I have loved it enough.
I'm going to go back and listen. I have no idea.
Aaron's audio is like heaven. It's the remix.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So, okay. So she goes to put a wreath on another person's property. And instead, this lady, Mrs. Motley.
Isn't that common property technically in a hallway?
No.
No, not your door.
Not if you own
Not your door?
Yeah.
This side of door, inside of apartment
Yeah.
is your property. Outside of door is the property of the public. No, they don't.
Oh.
Yeah. So she goes to put this wreath on the door, and this beautiful Christmas crone opens the door and walks into and gets the wreath put on her head around her neck.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, oh, tee-hee, what a Christmas hijink, as if that's a thing.
Honestly, Addie's lucky that she didn't fucking life alert grandma.
Yes.
Like,
no,
knock
absolutely.
that bitch on her ass.
Absolutely.
It was like, it did allow me to fall in love with that character immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Because the actress plays it off with such charm. And she's like, you didn't have time. I mean, it's fresh spruce. And she goes, yes, I noticed when the needles went up my nose.
I know. Her and she's one of the two best, funniest actors in this movie. And I'll get to the other one because there's one other person who just like steals the whole show. But yeah, so she's always wearing like caftans and crystal beads and stuff.
You're right. They did give her I am
a wise white woman.
I'm a woo.
I do woo. Yes.
Her outfit says there are crystals in here.
Yes.
And I believe that they impact my day.
Yes. So,
Sabrina,
as this
your
happens,
face is so great.
She's also holding this picnic basket full of muffins. And so then the guy comes out of the door and tanks into her and muffins go everywhere. And then it's supposed to be a funny, like, oh, look at you, ho, I baked these fresh this morning. And he's like, I can't believe this is the Mona Lisa of muffins, I think he says.
He did say that. He said calling these muffins just a baked good is like saying the Mona Lisa is just a painting, which I just want to say, technically, that is accurate.
It is.
It is
accurate.
It is just a painting.
It's just a painting.
Still a painting.
Like, is it a bold take to say that, like, Mona Lisa isn't even in my top probably 100 favorite
No,
paintings?
I don't think that's anyone's
No.
bold take. No,
Okay.
I think everyone's just like, yeah.
It's normal stuff.
It's a paint.
So, as this happens, they're like really awkwardly flirting. They're talking over each other.
Really awkward.
This is when we see the first appearance of the quizzical brow, because this actor almost exclusively tilts his head down to the floor and then looks up through his like eyelashes and eyebrows. And yes, exactly. And wow, it's quizzical all the time.
Can I also, so I'm going to introduce, I might try to do this because I want to pretend I'm useful.
Yeah,
So
you're
this
great.
This is Sam. Sam is love interest.
Yeah.
You can't tell from quizzical brow and the fact that he looks sallow. I'm like, is he interested in her because of the baked goods? Because he needs nutrients?
I don't
Because he's adorable. He's an adorable man. But I am like, why do you look unwell?
No,
I
between
think he
the
had a
watery
cold.
eyes and like the
It was
lack
just-
of nutrition, I was like,
And,
I don't
like,
know what's happening.
Not
over
doing
there.
enough to get rid of like the red of your waterline and whatnot.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
So I want to say this is Sam, love interest. The other thing, special note, I was like, I recognize this man.
Tell me everything.
He is in another Christmas movie that I have not finished. I think there's like 10 minutes left, but it started out like great and fun. And then it was like, oh, this is very Lifetime. And then I looked and I was like, oh, it's literally Lifetime.
It's literally
Lifetime will almost never stick the landing in my experience for Christmas movies.
Yeah, I'll
They
give you
get
that.
a little bit like, isn't this sentimental for 20 minutes? And I was like, listen, I don't have 20 minutes of sentimental.
No, I don't.
This is not what you are. I need you to understand who you are and what you are.
Mhm.
The point is, he's in another Christmas movie. I will try to find the title and send it so you can add it to the notes because I'm sure people are just so curious.
Clamoring.
But I will try my hardest to find a way to get a photo. I will just like old lady take a photo of my TV or something
Yes.
because he's in this Christmas movie and I recognized him even though he has a fake tan and it is bad. So it is clearly like spray on tan that was not well done, at least for the first couple of scenes. And then later on, I'm like, oh, they fixed spray on tan. That is good. Why not fix first part of movie? Anyway.
Is he also the hero in that movie?
He's the hero. And
Interesting.
he's really charming. I actually find this actor really charming.
Sure.
And he carries that one off as well. But he does have a spray tan and frosted tips.
Oh my God. When was this movie made?
Incredible.
Recently.
Oh my God. Fucking incredible. Yes, please send it to me. I would love to do that. So as they're like weirdly flirting, she gets really awkward around him. And the way that they indicate that she gets awkward and nervous is she goes, you should go.
You should go.
Get out of here. She white fangs him.
She does not. She says,
I think it's a neg.
You should go.
But it's an unintentional one. And it doesn't work on him because he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go crawl into a hole. Bye. I'll see you later.
Yeah, he just gets embarrassed and flutters away. So then
Mrs.
Motley was sitting there watching the whole time. This is it's just so great.
Just eating
She's just
muffin.
eating
her muffin?
It pans to her and she's just eating muffin, which she was never offered muffin. Did she pick up muffin off the floor?
I thought she grabbed muffin.
Oh, okay.
I do like the idea of her eating it off the floor better.
Yeah,
so
I think that's what's going to happen in my mind.
Also, those muffins were fucking wrecked. How fast were you walking?
Did that happen?
It's like somebody took their hand into that basket and just like started
And mashed
kneading
them.
like a 2-year-old was like, it's time for dinner.
I gotta mash.
Like, oh my God.
It's incredible. So then and she goes to work and she is an event planner and she's currently planning the Donner Party, which I thought was hilarious.
God. I am so fucking grateful that they did make a reference to it. Like, because like the whole movie, I was like, did they realize what that sounds?
They made 2 references to it.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, almost immediately they reference it.
Yeah.
Also, my note says, goes to work, under breath, lamenting awkward, you should go.
Yes.
She's just talking to herself as she walks through her office. I can't Addie, why would you say you should go? That's ridiculous. And I'm just like, if this was my coworker, I would be like, listen, I know you're having an incident, but you are making me so anxious that you're going to
totally
have a violent meltdown.
Oh no, this is when I put my headphones in and I just put up the sound and I'm like,
what?
I don't
for
need to be a
coworker
part of that.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
I thought you meant while watching movie, and I was like, I'm trying to understand what you're... I want to go on this journey with you, but I'm lost. I was lost on the way.
but like...
I thought you were listening around friends, and this is where you got embarrassed. You were like, I'm just going to make this a me-time situation.
Oh, no, they have to... No, there's nothing about this movie is a me-time situation, right?
Wow.
So, yes, she's lamenting you should go, and then she sees her friend who is adorable. Drea or Jaya, whichever one you want.
Blonde hair is the BFF.
Yes. And she's like, what? You were awkward with Sam? That sounds like you. And then their boss, Mr. Doyle, comes in to check on the status of the Donner Party. Someone else take it from here. My notes looks like I'm starting to fall asleep
and
here.
so they're like, if we nail this Donner Party, which is going to be hard because A, it was a tragedy, and B, Mr. Donner is like really tough. He makes you count tinsel and shit, which also it's not evidenced in the rest of the movie. Mr. Donner during the rest of the movie is the most patient person I have ever seen in my goddamn life.
My favorite is he doesn't have a single line.
No, he does not speak.
It's not just that he doesn't have a line. Typically, if you don't have a line, they might even if it's not the actor, they will have like a or like a sigh.
Yeah.
Not a noise.
He doesn't make noise.
No, at all.
I think he's in like a glass box of
he
like
does a lot of
soundproofing.
eyebrow work. You know what I mean?
He does a ton of face acting. Well done, sir.
Yeah, great stuff. Great
He does face play, I assume. I have so many notes about Mr. Donner.
Yeah.
But all I have is no shenanigans.
Oh, yeah, you can't have
and
shenanigans.
then Jaya crosses something off her list. That was the best. Drea, he goes, just make sure. Mr. Donner, he's so strict. No shenanigans. And she grabs a clipboard and goes, ooh,
gotta get rid of
crosses
this
something
thing.
off. She was like, well, I had shenanigans planned, but I guess I'll strike it.
Yeah. And if they nail it, then they get to go plan a wedding in Rome or something.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
so they're really excited about it. But Mr. Donner has been brutally depressed since he had a falling out with his son. And that's why he's such a dickbag to everybody, apparently. Except he's not at all, because people like just pull him around places and he's like, look at me sitting through this fucking meeting where you're doing a Pictionary at me. Like, this man is so patient.
Anyway, we will get to some of the best things that were said in the movie that were said to Mr. Donner, and he stayed in scene. He did not say, I will be done now.
I am honestly so impressed at the way these characters are able to keep their cool during this movie. Like, stay in character because
everybody committed.
I couldn't have.
No, everybody committed. It's great stuff. So as she goes home, she goes through that Marriott lobby and tries to keep the door open for
this is an
Quizzical
important
the
note.
hero.
Actually, I have to go back one second. She walks through the lobby because I don't know. They wanted to film her walking through the lobby. They're like, look at the cinematography. We're amazing. Wow. We can track a shot. The elevator is open. The elevator, when she gets home, is always open. The elevator on the right, there are 2 elevators. The elevator on the right is always open and waiting for her.
Yep.
So she walks into elevator and go Melody.
Yeah, and so she tries to keep it open as Quizzical Brows, the hero, is like running after, being like, hold the door. And she's like, oh,
no, he just walks up and he was like, oh, hey, Addie. And then the door closes at like comical time. And he does get quizzical face at the closing door.
This
and she's
man
like
is baffled
mashing the button.
Movie.
He doesn't know what button she's mashing. I will say that is very funny.
Yeah. So he thinks that she's trying to close the door on him. Meanwhile, she's horrified because she's trying to keep this door open so she can like dry hump on him in the elevator. She likes him so much. And then
I think she was just going to awkwardly talk about baked goods some more. That does seem to be her main thing.
I think it's bold that either of you think she was going to say or do anything. I think she would stand there in complete awkward silence.
Until he said something. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
They talk about her feeling awkward around him, but she always makes noise or shenanigans around him. So sure. I'm confident something would have happened in that elevator. Yeah. I'm kind of glad the movie was like, you know what? We're going to throw a lot at you. We'll spare you this one.
Yeah. So then the Christmas crone, Mrs. Motley, somehow looks out her peeper hole and sees them awkwardly walk by. And so she pops into the heroine's apartment being like, I saw you were really sad when you walked by. And so I brought you scones in order to give you some Christmas cheer.
Hugh.
Yeah.
The most awkward fucking scene. I have a question for y'all.
Please. Is it about spontaneously singing with your friends?
This is my holiday jam.
Not just that. Because I do that.
Jam.
This is sitting on the couch together with music playing in the background and then being like, oh my God, this is the song that means everything to me for Christmas. And then standing up together, having a weird little dance together, and then like sitting back.
Oh no, high-fiving.
Don't miss the high five.
Yeah.
Addie points up to the sound, which is apparently above them. And then Mrs. Motley goes, this is my holiday jam. And they both stand up as though they were like, this is the normal thing to happen now.
Absolutely.
And then they start singing, also terribly, but a little bit more synced with the actual fucking. And then they high five and sit back down.
And resume their conversation as if nothing weird has just happened.
Also, Addie confesses that she's a psychopath indirectly by saying, oh my God, I've been listening to this on repeat all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That explains a lot of your behavior, Addie. Because this would drive everyone insane.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lid for every pot.
No, totally.
I appreciate you saying that. That's fair. I'm being harsh. It's just that this song I think because last night I was so tired and I was a bit grumpy and I was getting so much of the audio because at one point when I was quote unquote watching a movie,
to be clear,
I did roll over on the other side and cuddle kitten and I was just listening to it and it was just song over and over again and I did not want to hear song anymore.
I am capable of being kind right now is because I have watched this one time. I'm pretty sure that in this recording, I have heard this song more than in movie, which is saying something.
No, I think they play it 5 or 6 times.
Yes,
and we're not quite there yet.
And this is
because
not
Melody's
an hour
only
and a half
scatted. Even
counts.
Just the final. I know. I'm saying, but she's only scatted the chorus,
just that tiny bit.
That's twice now. Mm-hmm. And I just want to point out that I did.
Hear? At the beginning of us starting recording?
But listener wasn't here, so I wasn't going to confess to how much we sang it earlier.
I'm calling you out on it.
I'm telling you, I have been driving everyone in my general vicinity insane because I cannot get this song out of my head. It's fine. So then the Christmas crone looks at her and she's like, Addie, you really need to tell people how you feel about them. And she's like, who? Sam? Oh no, I couldn't possibly tell Sam how cute he is and how wonderful he is.
Old lady fell in love with her podiatrist.
Yep.
Yeah.
She did bang her podiatrist.
Is this where we find out about her?
Yeah. I dig it.
Podiatrist.
I want to be Mrs. Motley later on.
Maybe she has like major feet issues and she got some like toe relief in some way. And it was the one thing she said that wasn't sexual.
Or maybe it
toe relief was a choice, wasn't it?
We got jazz hands away from the toes and Sabrina. Jazz hands.
Oh fuck! I totally fucking forgot. I'm sorry. I do get up early, but it doesn't mean
She's
I'm
the
totally
one who brought
awake.
it up. She brought it up.
I was horrified. I was like, this
victim blaming.
person
Let's
looks
do that.
at and touches feet for a living. That's like
You would need them to like scrub in like a surgeon before sexy times.
yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so into it. So
But
while
yeah,
this happens,
okay.
So Makes a Wish is my next note.
yes.
Pause.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't watch ads. I don't watch things, period. I just want to ask a question, frankly.
Sure.
Are ads getting more unhinged, or is it just a Hulu thing? Because
I don't know.
I watched the saddest commercial about Uncrustables.
What?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Like, the ad that came up on Hulu was the saddest commercial about
Did the mom
Uncrustables.
die and so she couldn't cut off their crust anymore?
No, because the Uncrustable, you see the bread, like the sandwich that it got cut out of, and
Okay.
everyone's making fun of and bullying the crust.
What? No. What?
Hardcore bullying. At one point, he sits up off of this book. They're doing interviews, and they're like, nobody gives a shit what you have to say. And he gets up to walk away and like do something,
can't be
and
the
he has
Crust
like,
walks away?
What the fuck
yeah.
Okay, I'm here with you.
I
I'm
think-
here.
Melody,
When
is she
they
having a fever dream?
Walk
or
away.
Is this
I haven't
possibly
sent her any
real?
mushrooms, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
No,
okay.
this is a thing that happened. I'm gonna find this ad on YouTube, and I'm gonna fucking.
We're gonna link it in the show notes. Yeah.
Our chat
It
is
is-
it's gonna be frosted tips and depressing like ad
Dude,
media.
it was so sad. Like, it got kicked off of a picnic blanket and then stepped on. Like, this was just, I was watching it,
What?
and I was like,
Why did they turn a
Huh,
perfectly
some ad
reasonable,
exec
Uncrustable
was
ad?
having a rough day.
Yeah, what is that about?
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, plus the crust is the healthiest part, okay? So like, stop it, everybody.
It's tasty and
You're
chewy.
not, I don't think you're concerned about that if you're buying frozen Uncrustables.
Also, I do
Fair.
want to say that
That's fair.
Uncrustables like is baked good related at least. It is baked, so it's related to the movie.
Okay,
I love that we are effectively having an accidental ad break.
we are.
And it's great because it's leaving suspense because now the inciting incident happens, which is that she
Yeah.
says to Mrs. Motley, as Mrs. Motley is trying to be her like fuck mentor. Yes. She's like, you need to get boned. And she's like, I wish my next, even though she has referred to him by name earlier in this conversation, she goes, well, I wish my next door neighbor, he lives across the hall.
This
from
is
her.
my
He's
victim
catty
blaming
corner.
moment. This is my victim blaming moment. Addie did this to herself because he's not next door. He's
No.
not. He is across
not.
the hall and catty corner. Like she
Yeah.
could have just said Sam. Literally just Sam. I wish that Sam, that specific human, would fall in love with me. She did it to herself. I don't give a
Listen,
shit.
I am no. Your truth is welcome here.
Thank you.
I am saying that there is no way for me. I'm like, everything that happens in this movie is terrible.
Oh yeah.
Because she was just saying words. You know, for
She
her in
was.
life,
No, she's
she
not.
is like, I have not yet
She's not responsible for the
encountered actual
stalking.
magic. But not just the stalking. It's that his like autonomy gets taken away. He is
Yeah.
basically body snatched by the spirit of Christmas
In-
fuckboy edition.
In the rest of my notes, after I figure out what happens, he is only Crazy Eyes the victim.
Oh,
Because he
oh,
really
that's so
is.
accurate. It really is
Because,
upsetting
like, it's
watching. I
fucking-
never forget that I'm like,
It was-
this poor man is so creepy, but this is horrifying.
Well,
He
so like, it
ruins
was
his whole life.
bonkers the first part of the movie, and then
It gets worse.
we find out what is happening in his life, and I
Yeah.
was like,
My favorite scene in the movie, which we will get to, because it's all cast, my favorite scene in the movie, is also like the best little snapshot of how horrific this is. But
this is
let's
a
not skip ahead.
crime.
No, it is.
I mean, it's a crime
It's an
by the
MK
spirit of
Ultra
Christmas.
like situation. It's MK Ultra does Christmas is what it
Again,
is.
if we're going to do a little bit of not victim blaming, a little bit of blaming, I'm going to say the next day. So what happens is she makes a wish. I wish my next door neighbor would fall in love with me. She's bad at words. I will say that the stakes didn't seem very high for her, but she says, I wish my next door neighbor would fall in love with me. And then Mrs. Motley's like, oh, a shooting star. That means your wish will come true. And she's like, well, then I also wish I had another muffin. And then, like, I don't know, end of scene. Yeah. Also, the scene before this, when they were walking up after the horrible, this is fucking Verico all over again. Where I'm like, let's go back 20 minutes. The scene before this, after the like elevator closure embarrassment thing, which is a more extended scene. So I will say there are things we're leaving out. You can still get something out of watching this movie.
Totally. The tragedy continues.
To be clear, we're only like 10 minutes into this movie.
I know.
It's accurate.
And we're
it's
an
accurate.
hour into
But I will say my notes, there's a little dash section in my notes that says sleep happened. And then there's like a big cut. So I will have far fewer details and interest because I have no idea what happened there.
Totally.
Anyway, the point is that while they were walking up, because I love this, they were walking up from the elevator thing. And then Mrs. Motley's like, you look very sad faced. Do you want to come into my apartment? And then as Sam is going into his apartment across the hall from Addie, next door to Mrs. Motley, and like they're both walking in that way, and on the other side, from the other direction down the hall, is a man with a dolly
and a
with
bunch of boxes
that have nothing in them. For the record, I mean, I think he thinks there are things in them, so he might have had some mental health issues before this, but but he's coming from the opposite direction. And last night, I was awake for this, but I was starting to fall asleep, and I just go, where's he coming from? The stairs?
He's coming from the stairs. He brought that dolly of boxes up the fire escape, basically.
Because later on, there's a stair-related bit, and that's where the stairs are.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible.
Sabrina's trying to think it out. Make it work.
I mean, they also say at one point that, like,
it's just a ramp.
No, fine. I'm fine with that. So
very steep ramp.
Very steep or long. Who knows?
No, you're right.
So anyway,
it's very something.
Later on, she tries to claim that she made this wish last night when we've already seen her go from that wish to a full day of work and then waking up again the next morning. So, like, this movie is all over the fucking place. Anyway.
I didn't even notice. That might have been when sleep happened.
Yeah, maybe. So then...
But makes a wish. Wait. And the next day, because makes a wish, and then she has her next day, and, like, she walks out to go to work, runs into Pete, in my opinion, the best actor in the movie.
He commits.
He's so
He's
committed.
A gamer, is what he is. At one point in the movie, he literally turns, he's just like, what do you need me to do? All right, I'll do it. And I'll do it full fucking force. I'm game. He's a gamer. So at one point, he like turns and he literally goes, my precious.
Don't get there. That's my favorite scene.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, but we meet him and they used to be, this is Crazy Eyes, the Hitler Youth haircut, who then becomes Crazy Eyes, the victim. Because they see each other again, and he's like, "Oh, we used to go
to
high school together. Great stuff. Like, let's catch up. I will. Why don't we have dinner or something, or lunch, maybe?"
I don't remember. I think whatever. It's a
meal.
Let's
the
have a
movie
meal.
Doesn't know either because
let's have a meal in a certain amount of hours that is single digits. That's such a wild plan where it's like, I am available in single digit hours from now. Like, that is a life that I don't think any of us can relate to.
No. And she's walking away being like, okay, ha, 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 ha. And he's looking at her back very wistfully. And he's got some of those eyeballs that are A, very blue, but B, he can open his eyes so wide that there's white all the way around his iris. And that is a fucking feat. That's incredible. That's a genetic beautiful gift.
It's difficult to do.
I can't
try to get your eyes away from your Oh God, Melly. I mean, you guys have beautiful eyes. Is that what you wanted me to say?
No, but he can make white go all the way around him, and that's a genetic gift. Okay,
it is.
It does
wild.
make you a crazy eyes when you use it a lot.
It is wild,
and he does.
He does so much face.
They do agree to get dinner, okay, and then he does just show up at her work,
and she says, "How do you know I work here?"
And she's like, "Yeah,
the
how do you know
told
I work
me
here?"
Is the answer verbatim,
word for word. Well, so then we do get the best pun in the movie.
Oh yeah.
when he's like, we're going to Radicchio's, and she's like, oh, I've heard of that place. It's a really nice place. Like, wow, thank you. And he's like, I've also heard that it's ridiculously.
Okay, so he says, I passed this place called Radicchio's, and then she goes, you mean Radicchio?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
And he says, well, I did look ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
And I loved it. That
sure.
worked on me.
It made me
love that for
shrivel
you.
into a raisin husk.
Yep. All of my parts became an innie.
Yeah.
At that point.
Okay, they go to dinner, and he basically is like, I need you to tell me every single thing that's happened in the 13 years that we've been separated. And she's like, separated?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you moved away. No big deal. And then later on, she does. Like, when we cut back to them being done with dinner, she's like, and then I cut my bangs again. And then, bloody
And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's what's happened to me for the last 13 years.
So then Sam gets into the elevator with them, and Pete starts going, Addie, why did we lose touch? She's like, well,
you moved. We also weren't friends.
We were never close, and you moved away to another state with your parents as a child.
And he's like, biggest mistake of my life. And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, it took me away from you. She has no idea where this is coming from.
That's the first really intense sign that there's something wrong here.
Yeah, there's something desperately wrong with this man. He has been Christmas magicked. He's been a pod person by Christmas magic.
This is legit the scariest part, because this is when there's been like a conversation, we're reacquainting ourselves. And then all of a sudden he's bringing this like, why did we lose touch? Energy, but it's not turned up high enough, because one thing I love about this movie is in about 5 seconds of movie time, she's going to go into her apartment, find a muffin, because she also wished for another muffin.
I had questions about this. She has a muffin. She eats half of it for breakfast. And then she does leave it. And then she eats the rest of it after dinner and then she keeps eating half of tiny mini muffin for like 8 days. What the fuck? Why is there always muffin available? She's just been half-eating this half-eaten muffin
that's not been saran wrapped.
Days.
It's only a day. It was that morning. This is my problem is in the morning. She has a whole cup of coffee.
Speaking of coffee,
okay,
all of these sociopaths drink full cups of coffee when they get home from work every day.
Oh yeah.
That
is a whole thing.
Except the perfect Mrs. Motley, who is like tea. Everything is
chamomile all day.
Everything.
Yeah.
I love
I'm sure she has
Motley.
other teas. Chamomile's the only. And her mugs wear sweaters. So, there's a lot of cute over there.
Yeah, she has the world's saddest teapot cozy. That's not a teapot cozy. That's a teapot scarf. But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, it just, all of these Looney Tunes.
So, after she's gone to dinner with Pete, and had all of that energy come at her in the elevator, and like, after they get out of the elevator, he's still like bringing that energy, and she all but like pushes him into his apartment. She's like, yeah, okay, yep, good. Go ahead.
Also, hilariously, we see these people open their hotel room doors in several different ways. One, they have actual keys, like metal keys. Okay. Another one, she literally opens it with a key card on the thing above the knob. And then the third way.
I did not notice that.
The third way that she opens the door is that she doesn't even have to do the handle. It's as if the door is like blocked open, and she just pushes it and then pushes him into his own apartment.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Wow, everyone.
Yeah, I hadn't clocked that. I'll be honest, I wasn't noticing. Every time they were in the hallway, I was distracted by the Christmas cheer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't paying attention to how they get in and out of doors. But yeah.
That same night when he's like coming at her, and she shoves him into his apartment, walks into her apartment, her hotel room, and then picks up other half of muffin, sits on the couch with her full mug of coffee and her muffin.
Oh, yes.
And she goes, oh, the wish.
Yes.
Like that is one of the things I loved about this movie is that they were willing to just go, she knows what's going on. We're not going to spend a bunch of time having to convince her that magic exists. We're going to just have this be a thing she understands. So
and then she says something like wrong neighbor. And then she goes,
yes.
Ah!
And then she goes, I love an alto sustained scream where I'm like, either she didn't want to upset her throat, like maybe she's a singer, but it's just like such a low pitched scream. It's so fun.
I think it's less that like whether or not she's a singer or not. I think it's mostly that they were filming this whole thing in like 72 hours, right?
She's like,
so, you have to be kind
I have voiceovers an hour. It's fair.
So now he's like waiting outside of her door. He wants to walk
Next
her to
morning,
work.
yeah.
She's like, oh God, no, please, no.
Mrs. Motley walks out of her apartment and she uses Mrs. Motley as oh, Mrs. Motley was waiting for me. We have to go in here. And he goes, okay, I'll just wait out here. And she goes, no, this is going to take a long time. You shouldn't wait. And so then they go in the thing. And that's where she and Mrs. Motley have the conversation where she's like, the wish, it came true.
And Mrs. Motley says, of course it did. That's Christmas magic. It's the most powerful of the kinds of magic.
You
like
sent the exact
verbatim.
Quote to us by text yesterday.
I'm going to find it. Hold on.
Because I'm like, it is verbatim in the text thread, so we should just get it because it is a very fun quote. It is one of my favorites.
She goes, well, yes, dear. You made a Christmas wish. That's the strongest kind there is.
That's
incredible.
It. And then she's like, well, it came true. And she goes, of course it did. You saw a falling star.
Oh my God.
And then she's like, but it's the wrong neighbor. And she goes, you really need to be more specific with your wishing.
Yeah.
I just, like, if anybody is, like, we've already learned at this point that Mrs. Motley is the queen of Christmas wishes, though, right? Like,
she's
we
the
know
Christmas
this
crone.
because she has created...
Sorry, I look so surprised.
Sorry, I never know
when it's out of place. That was a disheveling sneeze.
Sorry, y'all. I'm always surprised by sneezes. Like, some people have the ability to know that they're coming. I do not.
You have some delightfully weird settings, and I dig it.
Yeah, I don't. It's startling. I've lost contacts because of my aggressive sneezing before.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
But anyway, yeah, she's like a fucking pro at it because she's like, yeah, I made a wish when I was 30, and when I was 30 again at 43, and
46.
at 50, and like, my God, you know Mrs. Motley's getting tail.
Well, then she starts to, there's one, and then Addie's trying to get her attention, and she's like, oh, and there was what did she say, astronaut?
Yeah, and then there was the astronaut. And I'm certain they did it in zero gravity. They did. You can't tell me otherwise.
Honestly, like, what's the point of dating an astronaut if you don't get to do that, right? Like,
yeah,
that's really all they're good
what
for.
Happens. What happens? Okay, so then she's like, all right, we're gonna problem solve right now, and one of the things is that you have to unwish it. You've got 6. She says Christmas wishes don't stick until it's Christmas, so you've got 6 days to unwish this shit.
Yep.
And they start coming up with like ways to do that. So she goes
Next
back
scene is
to
she's
work.
singing the horrible song backwards.
She is sitting in her office by herself on her couch with some headphones going haba doo da woo da ba.
If this isn't some satanic panic playing a record backward bullshit.
Her friend walks in and is like, why are you singing an old English Christmas carol from hell? Like something.
Honestly,
like
blonde-haired Bestie is like the only character in this movie that
with
feels
any sense.
like an actual human,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that's even when she's talking about planning dog parties. Okay.
I was going to say, we did miss the scene, but we can just inject it wherever.
Hello?
She's like,
yeah.
I love when she's like, oh my God, is Rex going to be there? They just broke up. And then she like starts to covertly like rub the back of her ear as she's like listening to like a bad idea kind of face. No, actually, chocolate's poisonous to dogs. We can do like, and she pronounces pate wrong.
She says pate, right?
We can do pate. Oh my God, he'll love that. He'll be like a dog with a bone.
I kept expecting that scene to end. And then she just stayed on the phone about this dog party.
That she was just meant to start talking and they were going to cut away. But she started clearly riffing. And the filmmakers were like, that is hilarious and adorable. And we didn't have to pay anyone to write it. Let's do it. And they just kept it in.
I want that movie.
I want the movie of Drea for sure.
Yes.
Like, because often the best friend will find love.
Party.
As well. And she didn't. So I'm like, listen, I know you didn't mean it as sequel bait, but for me, this is sequel bait.
Yeah, same.
Yes.
She was fantastic.
Absolutely. So then she also gets up there and starts doing the Macarena to her satanic panic chant.
Yes.
And Drea's like, oh my God, why are you doing the Macarena? She's like, it's the only dance I know. And she's like, that's sad.
Tragic.
That's wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, she's satanic panic chanting to a blueberry muffin on a plate in front of her.
Right.
The fact that Mr. Doyle, by the way, they don't have a single office without windows. Like the fact that Mr. Doyle has not walked past her and gone, oh, I think she needs
She's unwell.
Do you think maybe this is just part of her usual process? She's like singing to baked goods. I mean, she does seem very baked good motivated.
Based on Drea's shock and horror at the whole thing, I'm gonna say no.
Maybe she wasn't shocked until she walked in and heard that it was, in her interpretation, Old English, but then
you know how long it took me to realize it was Make a Christmas Wish backwards? And I was reading the subtitles. I paused the subtitles. I paused with the subtitles on the screen and was like, what the fuck is this? And then I realized, I literally was like, oh my God, this is those lyrics backwards. And to be clear, I need y'all to understand, she is legitimately saying, this isn't just gibberish coming out of her mouth. These are the actual. Do you know how much she must have check it? But do you know how much she must have had to practice to be able to do this?
God.
It's amazing. This is not
impressive. It took me forever to be able to say a nervous, which is my name. To be able to say letters in order, right? What are these faces for?
It took me forever to be able to say a nervous, and I was like, the fuck? And you're like, which is my name? And I'm like, what?
Y'all not know?
You have just that factoid in your brain
to practice your backwards name.
Do y'all not know your name backwards?
I mean, I can probably do a quick pop quiz of mine. It's Kin.
Yeah, it's Kin.
Okay, Melody, you don't know yours?
Oh, wait, hold on. Yidolum.
I mean, it depends on if you're pronouncing it backwards in that you're making the vowel sounds that are being made in the forward versions.
Considering mine is a nervous, I'm going to say no.
That is a choice you've made.
Well, wow, I didn't know that was weird.
Is it a nervous though?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it, a nervous. I mean, because I can literally see her name, so I'm just. I'm like, you can pronounce it that way.
Okay, I thought there was another I before
nervous.
The S.
Wait.
Nervous.
Okay, listener,
Got it.
Please reach out. Is it weird to know what your name is backwards?
This is the engagement prompt.
Just off the top of your head.
Listen, we do actually need to know because I would like to know if I was failing at life. I'm going to turn 37 next month. If I was supposed to know this the whole time, it will be shame.
I've known this just off the tip of my tongue for probably a decade.
What?
I don't understand why you don't. You've never seen the internet things that are your dragon name is your name backwards or stuff like that?
I mean, I'm going to be honest, Sabrina. There are times I see internet things and I just scroll right on past.
Scroll right, yeah, I go, I don't know what my
I'm like, I'm not doing homework for you. What's the reward? I demand half a blueberry muffin, stale or not stale.
That's right.
I'm going to do homework.
Is it worse that now I feel like I'm confessing, but
no, I want to know
my first and last name.
I mean, no, because you know your first name, so I'm more impressed that you were dedicated enough.
Wait, I have a question though. Wait. My other thing is, if you say your whole name backwards, does your last name come first before your...
I mean, you can like flip-flop it around.
Okay, Sabrina, lay it on us. Drop your knowledge. Educate me.
I need to know the spell.
Am I being negged?
Yes. Negging. French.
I'm just openly mocking you, but in a loving way.
That's fair. Yes. I mean, if it helps, I love you more now.
This is the face of a person that is shocked that not everybody knows this off the top of their head.
Well, and you know the etiquette about it.
Oh, God.
No, I don't.
Like, which one comes first?
You immediately knew which one.
Like, it depends. It depends on if you're doing.
It depends on which witchcraft genre you're doing.
Yeah.
Have you said your name backwards naked in a forest? This is the other answer that I would love to have if you're willing.
I did, it was probably drunk at a camping party.
Okay,
was it on a full moon, though?
I was going to say, yeah. Was there a solstice involved?
Were you being kissed by the moon rays?
It is a nervous.
Say it again. Do it again.
Yeldar Benerbis.
I love you so much, Sabrina. I love you. I mean, Nervous. I love you so much. Yeldar Benerbis. Yeldar Benerbis, will you be mine?
Oh my God. I've never been more enamored with you than in this moment.
The thing that I'm most startled by is that, like, this is normal. I thought everybody knew.
Oh my God. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were it was Cult Podcast, and they were like one of the funniest things is, you know, what you just accept as normal when you're a kid. And one of the stories they told was this kid was walking a dog with their dad, and all the other dogs were barking at them, and the kid was like, "Dad, why why are all the dogs barking at our dog?" And the dad said, "Well, because he's king of the dogs."
Oh no!
They have to acknowledge him as he walks by. And it wasn't until this
need to tell a child.
No, and then it wasn't until this kid was like 15 or 17 where he like said it out loud. And he was like, "Wait, no, wait, that can't be right." Can you imagine growing up thinking your dog is king of all dogs?
Oh my God. Can you imagine what, like, dogs have a short lifespan? Like to get a little sad.
The king is dead.
The king is dead.
No, it becomes like it becomes an extra tragedy.
I followed it further because I was like, I mean, I assume they got another dog during this belief. While this belief was active. No. And then they were walking down the street and that dog was not being barked at. And he was like ashamed. He was like, this dog is a nobody.
That's not me. This is a pauper dog. Fucking peasant.
He's like, you fucking peasant. You are unworthy of dog park. We can only go in the dead of night when our shame will not follow us.
I feel like I just like had a pair of like I feel like
oh my God.
I feel a little less magical. The world is a little less magical that
Well,
not
you know what?
everybody knows this off the top of their head.
Y'all darba nervous. I think it's time to move on to the next plot point. Nick or Kin, will you come with me?
Sure, Lem.
Holy shit.
All right.
I mean, we can get to the plot point that Sabrina was trying to do when I interrupted and was like, no, we must do plot, because the next thing that I think is relevant, I could be wrong,
I've
is
been
when
trying
she
to talk about
yanks-
Sam getting
yanks Sam, poor Sam
hotel
being
room.
kidnapped.
So she yanks Sam into her apartment
Because
hotel
she
house
sees
thing.
Pete coming down the hall.
Yeah, and like yanks
She
him
doesn't wanna
into
get
their
caught.
living room, and he starts to talk, and she shushes him really aggressively, and then pulls him into the kitchen where it is there's no wall there, and then starts talking in a
15 feet
normal
further away from the walls.
voice. Starts talking in a normal voice as if he won't be able to hear that.
Mhm.
Even
No,
though,
it's
to
a-
be clear, as far as the lore of movie goes, the kitchen is closer to the front door
Yeah. Yep.
than the living room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I just realized I have something that's
Here we
clicking.
go. Oh, what? Tell us, lay it on us, educate me.
Where their front doors are.
Yep.
If those front doors were actually there, that house should have been entirely flipped sideways because her living room is in his apartment. Oh. Anyway,
You sound so disappointed.
I just
Oh my God.
clicking. So
Look at
anyway,
her
they
beautiful
start
face.
to like.
Oh my god.
They say that they are gonna. She's like, "Do you want some coffee and Christmas cookies?" And he's like, "How could I say
Can I cut
no?"
in to do this tiny
Please.
part?
Please.
Because then he's like, sure. Or sorry, I think he just says sure or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then she opens tin for Christmas cookies. And she goes, oh no, because there are no Christmas cookies left. And then he goes, should I just go? And I was like, was he just using her for baked goods? I think their romance is baked good based.
I'm all about it.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do, but maybe I'm insecure about my baking, which is maybe just being
I'm not
aware
the
of my
baker
baking.
here. I'm Sam in this situation, to be clear. Like,
Oh no, we are not destined to be the person waiting for the other under the mistletoe
No,
because
definitely
I am
not.
not a baker.
No, there's never going to be anybody there, you lonely bitches.
We'll just be in the
That's what
forest
privilege.
alone, chanting our name backwards in despair.
if he,
That is our lot in
if
life.
he, she, they won't call me a nervous, I don't want them.
It brings a whole different thing to say my name. Say my name. Say my name backwards.
Say my name backwards.
No, you know what? If you don't love me at a nervous, you don't get me at Sabrina.
Meme it, meme it, meme it, meme it.
I think they're the same person, though.
No, I have to assume that no. No, I mean,
No.
otherwise, why would she have been chanting it to a muffin? I rest my case.
Anyway, thank you. Well, she is.
So, yes, he's like, I guess I'll leave because you don't have Christmas cookie. And that was why I came out, or why I allowed you to pull me into your hotel apartment.
What?
And then she's like, wait, we can just make Christmas cookie.
You know what's better than a Christmas cookie? A freshly baked Christmas cookie.
That's what she says.
I beg to differ.
Frankly, this was the most natural this actress was the whole movie. When she
Accurate.
was talking about cookies in this specific scene, she seemed like a human and not just Cheekbones the heroine.
Interesting.
Like
I think that this scene wasn't scripted because, yes, they end up baking. She's like, grab the
Oh
flour.
my
and if
God.
someone told me to
Totally
grab the
riffing.
flour, I'd
Oh
be
my
like, I will
God.
hit you with it.
Okay, so one of my favorite things in
Okay.
the world is TikToks of people decorating cookies, right? Like, I love it. It's just
Okay.
really soothing to watch, right?
Oh,
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
people who are good at decorating cookies.
yeah, like
This is
professional
not-
bakers.
Yeah. So they end up making a bet, listener, that he'll take
Okay.
her on a date if he can make this gingerbread cookie look like not a
Gingerbread
gingerbread man.
Look like a reindeer.
Look like a reindeer.
Because she's arguing that the gingerbread, and what a hill to die on, the gingerbread men
Totally.
aren't allowed out of the house without sweaters. Because otherwise
Because
they're
it's
just
indecent.
naked with buttons on.
Do sweaters cover their gingerbread cocks?
They
I
don't.
love that I was
this
like,
is a Winnie the
they are
Pooh situation, my
gingerbread.
friend.
It somehow negates genitals.
Yeah.
Sometimes shirt negates
It
genitals.
gave me flashbacks to
Nullifies.
like my Barbies getting taken away if they weren't clothed at the end of playtime,
Oh, God.
right?
Okay.
I was like,
okay.
It's a fucking cookie. And then, to be clear, he makes the saddest reindeer out of this cookie.
It makes no sense.
Like, if this is supposed to be a reindeer, why are you giving it the creepy little smirk? Like, just give it a big ol' honkin' Rudolph nose.
The head should be the Rudolph nose.
The answer.
Okay. We've got a actually about cookie decorating happening.
Yes, you do. Because it's stupid, but it's because plot. Because listener Lem texted yesterday and was like, why was it not just Rudolph? And I was like, oh, she must not have seen the rest of the scene yet.
Of course
Because
I had.
They
You're
use
right.
it for plot because she's like, oh, it's Donner. So that it inspires her to come up with a theme for or not a theme, but like an idea for the Donner
activity.
event. Yes.
And it allows him to say
And
he's
it
going to
lets them
be at the party she's
find
planning.
out that both of them will be there.
So you're saying you're contending that these filmmakers looked at each other and they said, we absolutely cannot bridge the gap between Rudolph and Donner in order to make this happen. So make that cookie the ugliest shit you've ever seen.
Lem, I'm going to be honest with you. I have seen the rest of film.
Yeah.
It is not hard for me to believe. I mean, the first part of your sentence was, I believe that filmmakers were not able to, they did not think they could bridge the gap.
Right.
I do think filmmakers understood their limitations, and there were a lot of gaps they could not bridge.
That's fair.
Yeah, we
There was a lot of
have to get
filmmaking
to
that they
the
were like,
actual hijinks, though.
like the time when I thought
because
that Dude Bro wasn't gonna use a bridge. Yeah, let's fucking motor because like
he's just gonna swim from the gazebo.
Yeah, I totally thought that.
I also thought that.
They do end up doing so. Then okay, so this is Cookie. He makes the ugliest cookie. They're going on a date this weekend, right? Friday night or whatever. And then knock.
No, the next day. Yeah.
Fucking crazy
Pete's
eyes
there.
victim boy.
Crazy Eyes walks in.
Yeah.
Is there, and he just walks into her house and opens her fridge.
Opens her
No,
fridge.
she
in
lets
there.
him in.
I have a whole
Which is the weird-
ecosystem, okay? Like,
No, totally.
leave it alone. And but then he's like talking and finds out that they're going on a date. And he's like, "Well, what if we go get lunch on?"
That's after he leaves. I do not want to skip the part where he's
Yes,
like,
please.
basically Sam is trying to leave
Mhm.
elegantly, and like, and is like, well, I should get going, if I
Well, because
eat
the
any more
very
of
first
these.
thing Crazy Eyes the victim says is this guy bothering you? She's
Yes.
like, no, I invited him into my house.
Yes.
And then he goes, why?
And he's like, well, I guess I'm going to get going. If I eat any more of these cookies, these gingerbread men, I'm going to start to look like one. And he just goes with the biggest smile on his face.
Uh-huh.
Too late. Too late.
Yeah.
And then later on, after Sam does leave and she's just there with Pete, which I'm like, you ran in here to escape from him in public space.
Why wouldn't you just ignore?
Why did you let him in?
knock?
Why did you let Guy leave? And also, why this entire movie, Sam never picks up on the distress this woman is in,
Never.
that she's
No.
basically being stalked in front of him.
Yes. Actively
And she's like,
stalked.
no,
This
don't
is a
like, don't
great
want.
example of passerby syndrome. Like,
Oh,
he
yeah.
is just never. He's like
The
oh, well,
bystander effect.
yeah.
Yeah. He's like,
No,
not my
there's
pig, not
never
my
anyone else
farm.
around. They didn't pay for extras.
Gotta go.
Sam is a bystander to the. Really, this is a thriller. We're not watching a Christmas movie. We're watching a thriller about a woman who got stalked for the holidays.
It's the stealthy psycho stripper sequel. Psycho stripper got a horrible haircut and he is unfuckable.
Oh my God.
So,
Oh my God.
So it's a potato.
And then later on, when she's talking to her best friend
And
in
then
the next
Drea,
scene,
yes. She's like, I'm going to lunch with with Pete like this weekend, and she was like, "You're going on a date with him?" She goes, "No, that's a potato."
It's more of a potato. It's really funny.
It was really funny, and the actress committed.
And then literally, my next note is your favorite scene, Nick.
Because they're in the hallway about to leave, and we get inside of the wrapping paper over the fire information. Him looking out the peeper hole.
My favorite bit is that Mrs. Motley opens her door and she's like, "Oh, you crazy kids, have a great time," which is probably the only reason they're safe. He's like, "There'll be a witness." Because all of a sudden the camera angle changes and it's not like fisheye lens. It's just like distorted on the edges, which good job, does look like peephole and does look like straight up like murder vision.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to Pete on the other side of the door. Sorry, Crazy Eyes on the other side of the door, using his very crazy eyes for very crazy things. Because he's like, he pulls away from door, puts his fingers together, I don't know, Mr. Burns style.
Yeah.
And he goes, "My precious." And then goes, "What is happening to me?"
Yeah.
So it is like walks away. Crazy, and then walks away. I assume like in despair.
Dazed. Yes, dazed in despair.
Because this is the perfect snapshot of what is, like, he is at peak threatening and horrifying and obsessed and just horrifically wild. And he's aware of it. Like, I thought he just lost his ability to reason, like he'd been just fully consumed by Christmas spirit.
Isn't it
but
wild?
He is there. It is just like in the driver's seat. Yeah. He is in the passenger seat watching his life crumble around him.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get to in like a few minutes.
Yeah, well, because like right now, the thriller we're watching is Woman is Stalked for the Holidays. The plot twist, that's not the thriller that's happening.
That's not the thriller.
So she does go on this date.
Looking great. That red dress, red lipstick pairing was
hot.
And then he is like, "Oh my gosh, like I've been seeking out like the person that is for me and like who is thoughtful."
I think I might have found what I've been looking for.
And it's like this whole thing. And then she's like, "Oh, is it?" And then he goes, "Pete?" Because Pete has showed up.
Pete is there.
With all of his balloons.
With a balloon bouquet.
Sir, did you know there's a helium shortage? Like, that's a lot of fucking balloons.
You know, maybe that added to the horror because clearly we are seeing Pete Christmas Spirit Edition. So Pete, the normal man, is probably in the passenger seat watching his body be piloted by someone he has not authorized. Yeah. And he is going, "Oh my God, Christmas Spirit, don't you know that there's a helium shortage?" So he has extra guilt.
Well, so then he rolls up. They end up in this weird like dick measuring contest about how she really loves balloons and because she does apparently
so
versus
weird.
Flower. And then he does buy all of the roses from one of the
stop. We're doing this in the right order because he sits down. She is scared. She is like
actively scared.
Holy fuck. This, like, she is clearly afraid.
Under duress.
And like the actress is playing this correctly. And Sam is playing it correctly for a particular kind of character because he is not
a quizzical
noticing that.
That's all he is. Like, the whole movie.
I see threat to my suitor status instead of like, there's a threat. I'm not trying to say like you need to be a hero.
I'm not pro alpha, but also like this would have been a time where like we could have used an alpha.
I don't care who's sitting there.
Like she clearly is having problems.
Anyone saying like she's in distress, someone take her to her home or wherever she feels safe right now.
Not home.
Anyway, he sits down.
Crazy Eyes is right next door.
I said or wherever she feels safe. I heard it. That hotel is not secure.
That airport Marriott.
So she is sitting there. Pete sits down. She's clearly afraid. He's like, "Here are balloons," because I remembered from high school that you and Drea used to give people balloons for their birthday, and I remembered. And she is charmed by this. She goes from afraid to, "Oh, it was so sweet of you to remember." And this is where I get victim blamey because I'm like, bitch, you are a woman in the world. You know you have to stay completely vigilant. If someone is bringing this energy, you cannot slip for a minute.
This is the moment where I was like, oh my God, do I have it all wrong? Is she actually going to fall for Crazy Eyes?
It was a red herring.
There is a moment later that I will get to when we get to it. But yeah, there were moments where they were like kind of flirting with the idea that there could be some authentic attraction to this man who is not this man, who she kind of understands is not this man. So he sits down, he's being wacky with balloons. He's like, here are the balloons. And she's like, love balloons. I love that you remember this thing about me from high school.
Did y'all clock that this is ridiculous?
Yes. Because he goes, I'll have the veal again.
Is this the only restaurant in town for dating?
I mean, I'm going to point out that they had extras for this this shoot.
This was definitely filmed in the same hour.
Yeah. But at one of the hours, they paid for extras, more than 2 extras. Uh-huh. So I was impressed.
Oh.
It does not surprise me that they only got to rent one space. They could only afford or bother with one space. But yeah, you know, it's fine. So you seem passionate about the roses section. So we can move on to the roses section, because then Sam gets all ick and is like, oh, I must, you know, press my suit and meet this balloon challenge with roses.
And then hands her the roses, and then they have the most bonkers conversation because, dude, bro, Crazy Eye says nobody questions balloons. People love balloons. And then they go back and forth about this roses versus balloons things.
Can I do
and
quotes?
Then he says, those roses are beautiful if you like things that wither and die. And
well,
then,
no, it's in context. He says, so I wanted you to have something as beautiful as you. And he says, well, only if you like things that wither and die, which is both dark, deep, and also just true.
Well, then Sam, quizzical brow, is like, what about the balloons? They can fly away and then fall into the ocean and choke sea turtles.
And kill turtles. He'll kill baby turtles.
He says to Chick, he's like, tell him that, Crazy Eye says,
tell him that what we have will never be eaten by sea turtles. I have it under favorite quotes. And if you want to do a craft project, Anubis, and stitch that onto something, I'm sorry. Anubis. Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to be scolded. I want that to exist on something, and I don't think I'll be able to convince anyone to do it.
Tell him that
what we have will never be eaten by sea turtles.
I think that's a new sticker.
So funny. Yeah.
Yeah, new sticker.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am out of favorite quotes.
And then it literally backs out of we're just looking through the glass, and
the
she's just sitting there at the bowl. End scene.
She goes, what's going on? And then he does something else that's wacky, and she goes, check, please.
And he's sitting like right next to her face, and Quizzical Brow, the hero, is across the way
from another table to sit down with them.
This poor man. Yeah. This poor man.
Which one?
So then basically, I'm going to skip ahead a tiny bit because we find out at one of their encounters, the next thing is that they're in the lobby. Oh, no. The Christmas crone tells her that she needs to make this man fall out of love with her. And hilariously, I did love this one. She was like, I've been doing that without even trying my whole life. Like, that's easy.
Can we do plot thing just so I can scroll in my notes?
Okay.
Because there is a very important thing that happens because Sam dumps her. Because they go back to the lobby and Pete is trying to get her attention while she's talking to Sam, trying to, I believe, end their date. And Pete is like, hey, Addie, just 1 minute. Just I have a quick question. Addie. And he proposes to her.
He fully pulls out a Harry Winston box, I think is the name of a diamond company, and pulls out a gigormous diamond ring.
Yeah.
This is where the thriller switches.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. So he pulls out this ring and she's like, how did you even pay for that? And he's like, credit cards, my 401k, loans.
Savings.
I mean, my fiance was really mad, but, we made it work.
Yeah. And that's where Sam is still standing there and goes, you've been seeing a man with a fiance, which Sam, you have been here the whole fucking time. You guys dove into her. You've seen that she's not dating this man.
She's not dating this man.
And he basically is like, I've not found what I was looking for. And he walks away and leaves her to this. I get that he's not consenting to being a predator, but the body of Pete is currently a predator.
Yes, absolutely. And so not only does he have a fiance, but he broke up with her that day in order to get this, rock that you can see from space with his 401k money. And he says that they were going to get married in 2 weeks. The wedding is in
Gina.
2 weeks.
And just because we might refer to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? What did you do? Oh my God, we need to talk to your, or something about fiance. And he's like, we need to call her. And he's like, the last one, I don't think she wants to hear anymore about us.
Yeah.
Which is,
I don't think
the actor plays this in a very funny way, which is a mercy because this is horrifying.
Truly. So this man is actively just setting his whole life on fire while he's inside his own brain watching it happen.
And you know he's screaming in there. He's locked behind a cage. Like, what is, no, don't, I love her.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It is a wild ride. Also, I want to point out that one thing I didn't notice until like third viewing, or I think it was the audio listening, is that the day that, first day after she's realized what happened, she was like at work and she says, I had to sneak out the fire escape to get here because he was still waiting outside the door.
Yeah.
And then the next time she sees him, he goes, oh my gosh, where did you go? I waited outside her door all day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if he had job is gone.
Doesn't have job anymore. For sure not.
So like I was like, oh, his whole life is gone.
Yes. So then she's trying to basically be the worst person. Like she's trying to make him fall out of love with her. We have a whole montage.
Yes.
We're not
I have fall out of love montage to horrible song Rockin' Holiday.
Rockin' Holiday is the song. Fair enough.
Rockin' Holiday.
And
it's
the
awful.
only thing that's like important about this is that Sam sees her doing a bunch of shit that sucks.
Yes.
And so he thinks she's an extra garbage person.
There's an elevator thing comes in, doesn't matter. Stupid Christmas cookie thing where she takes Christmas cookies out, stands in front of his door, brings icing, and squeezes it haphazardly over the cookies. Is it? Oh.
Is it what?
It looked like, I think it's icing.
That's ketchup.
Even consistency-wise, that was it.
No, it wasn't a ketchup bottle. It was a piping bag.
It wasn't a ketchup bottle. It was a piping bottle. It was
it was a piping
bottle. We're wiping
bottle.
the canon. It's funnier if it's ketchup because I thought it was ketchup, and that's why it's hilarious that he is eating the cookie in front of
No, I think it's funnier that she thinks decorating a cookie just like so it doesn't look pretty is going to make somebody fall out of love with you.
Yes. You can have your own truth, but the actual truth in the world is that it's cookie icing. And she is like, look, I'm doing a messy job.
Look,
and she's
I do
like, this will make him fall. Because it's so offensive. I'm like, look, I'm bad at baking, so I'm unworthy of love. Maybe I was just like, hey, I feel seen the bad kind. Which is a theme with podcast recording. And then she does it. The next thing is she teases her hair. So her hair is very like wild and not sleek like it's been the whole time. And he sees her and looks interested. And then she comes back from work with her horrible hair. And he has teased his hair straight up,
his
which
Hitler
is very
Youth
funny.
Haircut is now teased into the sky, which is how you can confirm what kind of haircut it actually was.
That's a good fact check.
Yeah.
Well done, Mel.
Thank you.
And then the last thing, she pops a child's balloon because she thinks it's Pete behind it.
I'm sorry. This is not the last thing. She does pop a child's balloon, but there's also a bagpipe, which, like, you know how mad I'd be if I was a neighbor?
Which is the only time Sam doesn't come out of his apartment. I was like, that is when I would come out and be like, I will hurt your kneecaps.
Absolutely.
I hear those are hard to replace.
I'll take somebody out. That's what I would do.
Yes, she's playing a bagpipe in the hallway, and then Pete comes out, looks at her with excitement, goes back in his apartment, comes back out with an acoustic guitar because, of course, he has one of those.
So then she's like, next strategy is, instead of having him fall out of love with me, I'm going to make somebody else fall in love with him again and like get them back together. So she approaches Gina, who is the second of the 2 or 3 best, funniest actors in this whole movie.
Mm-hmm. She's great. She's working at Santa's Ho-Ho Holiday Emporium.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And so basically Cheekbones comes up to her and she's like, hey, I want to talk to you about, Pete. And she's like, don't talk to me about that. Don't ever say his name again. My fiance just dumped me and I can't even. And then she's like, well, I'm Cheekbones. And she's like,
she goes, I'm Addie Anderson.
You're Cheekbones who stole my fiance? And so, like, there's a whole bit about them trying to talk her into trying to get him back.
She's at the gift wrapping station. So Addie Anderson grabs a box of Christmas lights and walks back to the gift wrapping station. It's so weird. So anyway, she like talks her into this plan while she's wrapping the Christmas lights.
Yeah, justice for Gina. She does get accosted at work.
To be clear, from Gina's point of view, never in a million years. I would never take this man back. Like, we're from the side of this where we see that he's the victim here. But, like,
yes,
as Gina, girl, you deserve better.
In my mind, Gina takes him back because their love was distorted by Christmas magic. And then they have a healthy relationship, and it makes her pursue therapy so that she can increase her self-worth, because the only reason you take someone back like this,
the only way this works, and this is what I was thinking the whole time, is that when he figures out that he wants to be with Gina at the end, and like she talks him into it, both of their brains are just wiped. And so this never happened for them.
Yeah, because frankly, it would have to be wiped.
It would have to.
I would never trust him. That's going to be an unhappy marriage.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you work through something that he can't explain? Because the thing, I'm just going to say this now.
Yeah.
The way that they close this out and get them back together, it is clear that he does not have his full autonomy back, because he is still like not seeming like, we don't have that moment where he kind of shakes it off.
No.
You know, like that language of film thing where he's clearly given back full control of his own body and mind.
Yeah.
It is just like she was able to manufacture a workaround. But like, apparently he is just possessed forever by this horrible ghost of Christmas.
And this is after, like, the only thing we see for those two and their happy endings, quote unquote, is that she gets completely publicly humiliated because he has serenaded and done a public proposal to another woman. And then roughly 15 minutes later, after this woman does a really vague speech about telling people how you feel about him, they come back up to her and he says, well, Gina has decided that we are going to be together now. And so I'm sorry to break your heart, but I'm breaking up with you for Gina. That's how it ends. We don't see him grovel to her. We don't see him get his body back. We don't see anything. And so going from I'm proposing to another whole human to we're going to be together and you're not invited to the wedding because Gina says you can't come. Not me. I'm fine with you coming. Would love you around anytime. It's Gina.
Maybe we can
who's
be
like
friends
being a bitch
again.
about it.
And it's like, no.
It's like,
and then
Gina,
he hugs her and Gina's like, too long, and pulls him away.
Like,
and that is the end of his storyline.
He and Gina need to not remember the past week.
That's what I was
Otherwise,
saying.
Yes,
Like,
this is fair.
she's about to be like, she was very controlling in the last like 5 seconds of this movie. And I was like, this is an unhappy marriage. Y'all need to
this is a behavior that makes a lot of sense because your attachment styles might not work. I want to go back. So we were at the Christmas store. I can fast forward through this fairly easily, but we did set up a number of things, and I do want to hear Sabrina go on about the gazebo.
Totally.
Bridge.
Yeah, so they set up a grand gesture.
So they set up a grand gesture, and she gets Sam's help because no one else is in town. So she has to go up, and that sets up the reconciliation there. So they set up this gazebo. There's like a whole thing where she's like kind of sneeze. I wrote Chekhov's sneeze. Sneeze.
Chekhov's sneeze.
So then Gina's there.
And Gina is wearing the same dress she wore when he proposed to her.
Yes.
That was a dress.
So I assume it still has semen on it. And they are across the way, across a water, a small like
water feature.
Watching.
So she's been sneezing, and she realizes that she's sneezing because of her scarf. Okay, and so she takes off the scarf, hands it to Sam, yada yada, and then she's standing there waiting until Crazy Eyes gets there, and then she's like, "Stay here for a second." Walks away because of course he's going to stay there because he is under her spell.
Yeah. Actually, right there, you can go again in just a minute, but right there, he says, I'll do anything for you. And she goes, I know.
Forgot.
Like, she's so mad about it. She's like, I know you will. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So then Gina rolls up and then they're hiding. So like Sam, Cheekbones, and Blonde Bestie is standing behind, quote unquote, this
next to Bush.
And they have a whole fucking setup as if their lights are gonna go up all of a sudden and music's gonna start playing. And I was like, this was very underwhelming. It looked like they had a whole stage thing that was gonna happen. It does not. And then you can see.
No, but they start playing their song.
Crazy Eyes start to fall back and like to start to be like, oh my God, I am in love with Gina.
I might be able to fight through the haze of Christmas magic.
And they're almost
He's getting control of his brain.
And then Cheekbones has y'all just witnessed one of my sneezes.
I was just gonna say
was like worse. Hers was like well,
yeah.
And then
that's a pretty good rendition.
That's really good.
Hears a sneeze and looks over.
And wait. And at the same time, she bumps Sam, who then starts playing "Christmas Time is Coming Soon." Make a wish this Christmas.
December 25th.
So then he's like,
Crazy Eyes. He's like, and he like looks through the gazebo and makes eye contact, and it's like a fucking laser guided system. I thought this meant he crawls up the side of the gazebo, and I thought he was going to launch his body
into the
water and then try to swim to her.
Uh-huh.
I am convinced they tried to have him do that, realized pond was too shallow.
Agreed.
And they were like, we don't want this to be evidence for the lawsuit this actor is going to use against us. So they filmed a different alternative version where he uses bridge.
I thought he was going to get hypothermia in that.
Of course.
I thought he was going to water launch himself.
And you know what? The Christmas magic doesn't give a shit about his body. So like,
no,
it would do it.
Doesn't care about anything related to his well-being.
Very different movie if it had ended in the hospital. But
this poor man. I'm sorry. Just thinking about the character, he was getting the reins back into his little clutches, and he was just starting to get like able to latch back on to like the life that he built for himself and the woman he loves. Then it's ripped away because this bitch can't put her face into something hard enough to not have a vocal fucking sneeze. Sorry, I realize that you might feel personally attacked, but I'm very upset during this movie.
I had a lot of feelings during this scene.
Yes. And then next they cut to them in the hallway. She's walking through the hallway with Pete. She looks dejected. He looks like excited puppy of love who has fully lost control of himself again. This is Christmas magic Pete. And he goes, I'm sorry, I've never heard Gina talk like that before. I actually never heard anyone talk like that before.
She went on a 10-minute tirade, apparently.
Yes.
And there were a lot of expletives, for sure.
So then Mrs. Motley invites her in, and she's basically like, hey, all of your tactics have been really stupid. Have you told him how you feel? And she's like, it doesn't help to talk to Pete. And she's like, I'm talking about Sam. And I am kind of like, does that fix the problem, Mrs. Motley? I feel like you know about Christmas magic, and you get that this is like a serious situation that's ruining two lives.
What kind of Christmas wizard is just like, you know what? Let's just throw strategies at the wall.
This is the
We're just going to throw spaghetti at the wall.
Like, this whole situation is the monkey's paw of Christmas. And the woman who apparently knows how to handle things, I swear to God, this is fucking Christmas Loki. She's like, I'm going to make it worse just for my amusement.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Mrs. Motley, at her core, is a little bit sinister.
I kind of dig it.
Me
but
too.
Yes. I was going to point, she's like, I can't tell Sam because then he'll know this is all my fault. And then I realized, Sam will understand that he almost had his fucking autonomy ripped away from him. So that is kind of dark.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, he's seen what's happening.
Like,
and he seems to kind of believe
him.
her-ish that, like, there's a thing happening. I don't know. I don't remember if she kind of Christmas wishes with him at all.
And, like, let's be clear. Mrs. Motley was also sinister in The Night Before Christmas. Because she just launched that guy into the 20th century with no prep whatsoever. So, like, she's been sinister the whole time.
And his horse is, like, left behind wandering looking for him because they're bonded.
She abandons that horse. How dare.
I'm suddenly realizing it's been a very long time since I watched Nightmare Before Christmas.
A night before Christmas? The night before Christmas with high-waisted actress who I don't super love after her COVID speeches, but
wow.
The Hudgens.
Yeah, one of those.
Did you not understand what we were talking about the whole time?
Is
this the first time you've understood?
Jack
I was
Skellington
super confused earlier in this
time.
episode.
You're picturing Sally like trying to convince a knight to
Sally the Christmas crone. No dinosaurs go down on Sally.
Y'all,
that's not. something that happens.
I know.
I mean, I feel like that would be easier because you could make the dinosaur puppets to scale for her.
I did process that earlier, but then I did just hear it again, and in my head,
you just went
like,
whimsy, whimsy, whimsy.
I did. I heard, but no. Then I realized I was like, oh, they're not talking about Nightmare Before Christmas. But then just now you started talking about him getting launched into the different century, and I was like, but that does happen, and he does get launched out of his reality into
out of his world.
And I was like, mentioned, but not.
Yes.
I did start questioning myself again, though. I was like, fuck. I thought I understood what was happening.
I'm glad that we've all grown as people during the course of this podcast.
Brain.
It's glorious. So, I'm glad we could be here for so much of this.
Whimsy, we're back.
Can we get back to plot? She walks into Hall, runs into Sam, and even though she was just like, I can't tell him, he'll blame me. He's like, it was really great of you to try. Like, it's really brave to try to fix a mistake, which is actually one of the loveliest things that's said in the movie. And she still does not confess to him, but they are talking about the Christmas party that's happening the next day for the Donner Party. The Donner Legacy Foundation is what it's actually called. And Pete, again, is listening at his door. And he's like, ha. And you see him walk into his closet and come back out with like a tux. So clearly he's going to crash party.
The tux that I'm convinced he got for his wedding. That is in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Oh, no.
That's dark.
It's extra bleak.
And Gina sees him in it.
Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, we had to fucking reverse because we didn't get to the part where he sings and dances the worst song ever.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're at Christmas party.
Yeah.
First major plot thing is that she runs into Gina, who has picked up a shift as a server because I think we skipped over the part where she's taking a bunch of odd jobs to pay for the things in her wedding that she won't even get to use. So Gina is very hostile, shocker. And she's like, oh no, shenanigans. And then here's one of the reasons we had to do this, because my next note is, Mr. Doyle comes over to congratulate them. Quote, even Mr. Donner looks happy. Cut to Mr. Donner actor looking vaguely pleased.
Exactly the same as
I haven't seen him this happy in years. Again, cut to Donner. Vague smirk. Like, there's no actual joy on this man. He does not look displeased, I guess. So then, all of a sudden, Pete shows up.
There's an important note where...
Oh, yes.
Cheekbones calls Christmas Crone and is like about to cry. Christmas Crone her hair is like not made up. She ain't got no makeup on her face.
Bed.
She is big chilling in her bed.
Yeah.
And this is of note because, well, we'll explain. Just remember that Christmas Crone is like asleep practically, reading in bed.
She's literally reclining in bed on her side with a book.
Yeah.
Yes. So then Pete shows up, launches himself onto stage. He's like, this is my big moment. He grabs Mike and he's like, I don't remember. He probably says things about Addie. And then...
Did you talk about Sam?
The Christmas...
Shitting on her?
Nope. I forgot.
Okay. Sam
I don't remember.
Does in fact walk up to Cheekbones and is like, I thought you and Pete weren't a thing. And she's like, we're not. And he's like, well, why is he here then?
Why did you invite him?
He's all pissed off and then fucks off.
And he's like,
I can't. He says, I can't do
this.
He's like, I can't do this. I'm leaving in a huff.
Yeah. I'm like, this man is clearly escalating in his stalking. Yeah. And you're like, how dare you?
So as he's doing this speech, he keeps on being like, I hope you all are enjoying this event that my Addie put together.
You're talking about Pete, who's wandered onto stage. I'm just saying we switched to pronouns, even though we were just talking about Sam.
Yeah. So then he decides that he's going to do a special performance. This is when he like cha-cha-chas around stage while offbeat and off key, singing this Christmas song that I can't get out of my head about wishes and loneliness.
I'm so glad I'm not you.
Dying alone. And
Sabrina.
No, I don't blame her.
Like,
I wish I wasn't me right now.
To be clear, is not stuck in my head. I could not give you the melody right now.
Make it true.
Melody can,
if you make a wish this Christmas, true love will come to you.
Yeah. I
just make a wish.
I'm actively.
I'll just sing in the background. Keep talking
as y'all are doing.
This is what the movie's like. Keep going.
Yeah, it's all in the background the whole time.
Always,
so then
constantly.
After that, he proposes to her.
One note about that is that the final chorus He repeats the final chorus 3 fucking times. Not only did they have him sing the entire song, but I was so pissed that I counted. I was like, how many times do you do that final chorus?
So
3 times. It was so long.
So long.
Do you think it's because they were trying to hit a time? Right? Because this movie was almost exactly an hour and a half.
Oh, that's fair.
Maybe it was a network. It was for a network and they had to.
Yeah, that's like all I could think is like this was for, because there are multiple scenes in this movie where I was like, this really could have been approximately 2/3 shorter.
I would have taken more credits. I would have taken an intermission of blank screen.
I mean, because the other thing was coming up.
Stuff.
Yes. I just processed that. That was really funny. You know, if they did an intermission with a blank screen, what would have been playing was Just Make a Wish This Christmas. Oh, guys, us singing at different times, that was what that scene was like.
Exactly. Literally.
And that gets us back on plot.
Except that he was going, I can't even sing flat. I can't even hit the flat note he was hitting. I actually cannot process it. I tried to do it and I couldn't.
It's really, really tone deaf. It's fine. The actor was doing his best. His best was horrible.
No, I think
so
he was doing it on purpose. Because he's a gamer.
Really?
Yes.
He sounded like he sounded tone deaf to me, but it's possible that I was in a state
I don't think that I would be shocked to find out that this
he's a
actor
singer.
Can sing.
I'm just saying that, like, I don't think he tried.
I think the dance moves were a capital C choice.
Yes.
I did put in, because I was so upset during this last night when I fell asleep, so I had to wake up and I'm laying in bed with Kitten jumping all over my face, and I'm like watching this again, and I'm like, you know what? I'm transcribing the lyrics. That'll at least keep me engaged. And then I put in parentheses, insert one fucking dance move. It's not even a dance breakdown. It's just a single dance move. Why is dance move here?
He's doing a bit of an Elvis. He basically just like shakes his dick at the audience, you know?
Tiny bit.
Yeah.
Tiny
well,
bit.
the fact that the audience this entire time is like looking at each other like, wow, this is so good. Like clapping.
What
people are woo-hooing in the background.
It's a weird thing, but I'm going to bring, because it's so easy to find this, because it says he sings the whole stupid fucking Wish song.
Yeah.
So then the next thing that happens is he stops at the end of the song, because he sings the whole thing, and he proposes to her in front of everyone. And we've seen Gina walk up and be like crushed, and she's just watching him.
There are tears another woman streaking down her face.
I didn't notice that.
I swear to God. Maybe not.
I believe you.
Melody fanfic
in
and
the tux they picked out for their wedding.
Yeah.
She is standing just in the middle of this room watching this happen. I was like, girl, leave. You don't need to be
so visible. This. When I am crying in public, I find a hiding place. If you ever see me behind a bush, don't ask me if I'm okay. You can just assume I'm not.
If I see you behind a bush, I'm just going to assume that your Christmas crush.
Trying to say my name backwards, practicing.
No, I'm going to assume that you're watching somebody in a gazebo across the pond, desperately trying to get the reins back in their brain.
On their psyche.
And you're not going to help. You're just going to walk by like Sam.
Yeah. I'm not involved in this.
She can't. Not her pig, not her farm. Just like
oh my God, I was wondering if Melody was going to do that again. Okay, so he proposes and she takes the mic and she's like,
I've never been prouder of a fucking character in a movie.
Was like, they do a suspenseful pause. This is the thing I referenced earlier.
Yeah.
There are a couple of times in the movie where they're trying to get us to say, is she going to possibly go with this automaton of Pete that is powered by evil? But no. So she says no. And then I wrote, she gives a speech that isn't interesting or sentimental or effective enough to be this fucking long.
Yeah.
Yes.
It goes on and
an hour 30. I'm telling you.
She uses so many words to say nothing.
Yes. She's basically like, did you know that people are important? Oh my God. Thank you, Addie. That was really helpful. The only value this has is that before the end of her speech, that is not very good, Mr. Doyle, you see him pick up his phone. She is not done with speech. She is in the middle of speech. We find out later that this is him.
Donner,
yes. Thank you. Doyle is
the one
stupid.
With frostbite.
Why? There are only 5 characters. Anyway,
I know, right?
My brain needs it. Mr. Donner picks up his phone, and we find out later this is him calling his son to reconcile after like 20 years of being estranged.
Because Addie says you have to tell people how you feel about them. So these two think that they've like tanked this party. They're not getting that wedding in Rome. But then Mr. Doyle comes over and he's like,
no. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm so
no,
sorry.
you're
I don't
fine.
want to
'Cause
skip.
there is CGI
the horrible-
confetti.
Exactly.
I forgot.
That is the most important thing. I said weird, horror-filled star confetti starts falling from the ceiling, but shockingly, somehow, quote unquote, somehow, not onto anyone's hair or clothing.
No.
It is just this golden confetti of stars. And then I assume Sabrina
it's a
wanted to get to the
falling
part where
star.
it cuts to Mrs. Motley,
Yes.
who sees a shooting star.
So in this speech, she is saying like, I wish for blah, blah, blah. She's saying wishes, right? She's saying like, I wish you would talk. I wish I had told my neighbor. I wish that you two would get back together. Like all these wishes. And then Mrs. Motley in
You're right.
full hair, makeup, and fucking
Tea.
Jeans.
uh,
Tea with
caftan is
tea with a
gone.
cozy on it.
but like she's all dressed up.
She's standing
and she's
at a
standing at a
window in the
window.
dark.
And like
dark.
you know what happened. By the way, this is less than 30 minutes in, right? They're because to be clear, this is the saddest party.
Yeah.
There's
30 minutes into the
nobody
party.
here, and it's also only supposed to last 1 hour. So you know
Forgot about
that
that.
Mrs. Motley got that call and went, "This is my moment," and then sprinted off that bed to get fully dressed with a full face of makeup and fucking manicured hair so she could stand at this window and watch that shooting star. She
and
knew that
manifest
wish
a
was
shooting
coming.
star.
No,
And she
because she
looks
knew
satisfied.
she knew that this was going to be the
Yes,
moment.
she looks
this
like,
was the
that's
moment
it.
when Cheekbones is going to find her gumption and make the
That's
wishes
sinister.
that'll actually work.
She's finally going to get past that bad advice I was giving her for the first bulk of the movie.
She's going to thwart my evil plan.
Like her very last thing was just be yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
Which
Yep.
also, to be clear,
Sure, man.
that is terrible advice.
Yeah,
Cheekbones
yourself is not always
great.
great. She makes baked goods. So then Pete and Gina come over, do the thing Melody talked about. The reason I'm bringing that up again is so I can say best friend comes back over because the best friend has the best lines and we've
Yeah.
skipped most of them.
Yeah.
And Addie says, she's like, oh yeah, they got together. I'm so happy for them. And she goes, yeah, now she doesn't have to work at that weird Christmas store anymore.
Yeah.
Because the best friend throughout the movie has been like acknowledging the weirdness of Christmas movie tropes and like Christmas movie
she's
silliness.
great.
It has been great. So then best friend and Addie find out they get to go to Rome.
Yeah,
Who
because
cares?
Mr. Doyle does in fact come over and say, "Good job, ladies. This is the best Donner party ever." And they're both like,
Bar's not high. Bar's not high.
So then they walk out together and Sam, the psychopath, is standing outside in the cold because even though he stormed out, apparently the line was long at coat check. And so he heard the whole thing, one of them being that she said, I wish I told my neighbor how I felt about him and that he makes me feel good or something. And so he
Does
stood
he?
outside in the cold?
Does he really make
Yes.
you feel good, Cheekbones?
Oh.
Okay, well, you know what? Here's the thing. They are both people who apparently make love declarations exclusively in third person. So maybe they do make each other feel
Is this
good.
a lid for every pot situation?
Maybe.
I think so.
They
I was
both
going to say, so
say
go
third
ahead.
person. Or what does she say?
No, she says, I wish. It's that they
I wish
don't
I had
say
told him
to
that I
you. They
liked
say, I
him.
wish I had told him that I felt this way about
That's
him.
what
And
it
they're
is.
speeching at each other's faces.
And get ready for the weirdest thing that has happened this entire movie, okay?
What?
The
Fucking
kiss? 'Cause that's weird.
quizzical brow man who his most interactive, like, I'm a human being scenes this entire movie was when he was making Cookie, okay?
Yes.
Like, he was actually an engaging human, right? The rest of the
Uh-huh.
time,
Yes.
it is quizzical face. It is fairly monotone.
He's baffled and shaking his head. That's his whole thing.
He is like, there's something he wishes that he'd done a long time ago. He fully drops a register in his voice and
I did
growls
not
that at her.
notice.
And she's like, what? And he's like, kissed her.
Passionless kiss.
And then just
No, he just kisses her, I
Kisses her.
think.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
all I
I
know
said,
is
wish I'd
that
done this
it-
a long time ago. Then completely passionless peck in vicinity of lip area.
Uh-huh.
Because what clocked it is I was listening because at this point I was taking a couple of notes. And so I wasn't actively watching. And
Yeah.
he was talking and then he did his voice thing. And I was like, who the fuck just spoke? And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I backed
Incredible.
up so I could watch
worried
it
there was a fourth
again.
act
I
to
was
movie?
like, whoa, I thought this movie was over. Like, is this the magic?
Seriously.
Oh my God.
So I will say, sorry, go ahead. I don't want to let you not have your full breakdown.
That's it. I was like, who is this growly man?
Because yes, they do passionless kiss, and then it says last lines of movie, quote, he says, guess it's true. When you make a wish at Christmas, ... She says, true love will come to you.
Ugh.
He goes, yeah. She goes, come on. And they walk away, and it says credits, - horrible song refuses to die, because of course the song over the credits.
Oh, yeah.
Just make a wish this Christmas.
Make it last. Make it true.
Make it true.
Wow,
So,
everyone.
Yeah.
That was a ride.
That is a movie that we watched.
Anyway, yeah, this is a
no regrets.
delightfully horrible movie.
You want to know? It feels like an honor to have watched and recap this with y'all, because I have watched a grand total of maybe 10 hours of content on TV, movie, or anything this year. Because I don't watch things. And
I relate to that a little.
yeah, and I was like, this was worth it to be the 11 and a half hour of my year.
Yeah. Yes, it was the Melody texting and just being like, what the fuck is this? And then a few hours later, Sabrina being like, what the fuck?
What's happening right now?
Yes. Yes.
It was wild.
No regrets.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, what are your lady loves, y'all? I can go first.
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
that'd be great.
Okay. So earlier in this very podcast, we were talking about the moment at the restaurant where Quizzical Brow, the hero, like he could have been an alpha, I think we said, or something like that. Like he could have stepped in and protected her or, done whatever. And it reminded me of this moment where Drew Barrymore was at the 92nd Street Y with singer-songwriter Renee Rapp. And my point in all of this is you don't have to be an alpha to protect the people that you love and respect, because there is this incredible YouTube video of Drew Barrymore being like, I'm doing a talk show thing, probably with Renee Rapp. And then somebody coming to the front of the thing and being like, my name is first name, middle name, last name. You probably know me. And it is a man who has been actively stalking Drew Barrymore. And so without, as he's in the middle, he hasn't even gotten to the point yet. And Renee Rapp just gets up in this goddamn black power suit and ushers Drew Barrymore off the stage. And then a security person comes out after that to then get this man out. And when they come back out to the stage, she's like, oh my God, you were my Nick Cage just now. You bodyguarded me on instinct. It was amazing. And that is just one of my favorite moments. The random snippet in the universe of Renee Rapp just being like, oh, hey, girl, we're going here now. Goodbye.
Just people looking after each other.
Yeah, that's my lady love.
I thought you were going to extract something from that, but I didn't realize your lady love was specifically that exact clip.
No, yeah, you don't have to be a hero. You don't have to be a hero. You don't have to be an alpha. You don't have to be any certain thing to be a hero. Yeah, to be.
You don't have to be a hero to be a hero.
That's the one. That's the one. Not that Renee Rapp isn't an alpha or isn't a hero. I'm just saying she's not necessarily alpha presenting.
Yes, there you go.
That's all.
There you go.
That's fair.
Sabrina, if yours is going to be really cute, can I go second? Because the only thing I thought of is a little bit of
I got
downer.
distracted because I did not know anything. The only thing I registered out of what Melody just said was Reese Witherspoon. And so I was trying to keep up.
I didn't say Reese Witherspoon at all. She was not in.
That didn't happen.
The
Renee Rapp
conversation.
and Drew Barrymore. And a security
That's
guard.
what I meant. Wow, okay. So
You didn't even mean Renee Rapp?
Ma'am.
I knew Drew Barrymore. I knew it was famous.
Are you okay?
Female actor. I don't know names, okay?
I didn't say word.
But it was just syllables in a row.
Aroma.
It sounds like you do know names because you knew Renee Zellweger or whatever.
I can't. I'm trying to do Drew Barrymore
who's
backwards
that,
on the
though?
fly, and it's really hard.
I was making a joke because you said Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, no, I was like when you started, I was like, okay, I'm going to like kind of half tune in because I'm also going to try and figure out my lady love because I was not prepared. And then
fair.
and then you just started talking and I realized like, oh no, I actually have to listen. I don't know anything that's happening right here.
And
This
it's
is
one of
complex.
the hottest videos I've ever seen. Renee Rapp is a stud in this.
No,
tiny
I'm definitely
video.
going to look this up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Find
am
it and send
very
it to the
attracted
chat
to
because
her.
I don't know these names well enough to.
She
Google
can
it
do that right
myself.
now. I can see the certainty in her face.
All right. My lady love is sleep. If you need sleep, get some sleep. Okay. Even if you're not sick, even if you are feeling funky and fresh, but you feel the need to sleep, go to sleep. That's my lady love.
Yeah,
That's a great lady love.
I support that.
It's like very, very self-care.
What's your lady love?
Okay, well, I hope this isn't a downer. It isn't meant to be a downer. It is meant to be a encouraging people to do good mental health things. You know, everyone's having a time, I think. This is a season where people have a time. I'm having a particular time this season. It's been really challenging, and it took me a little while to notice. And I will say that I was overstretching my mental health capacity, though. So the thing I would say is do yourself the favor and kindness because you are worth this energy to tune in with yourself and see how you're doing. And if you are properly taking care of yourself and if you are well nourished enough spiritually or literally, just, you know, with actual nutrients that you consume through your face holes, face holes, usually just one.
You don't know. I mean,
That's fair. That's fair. I didn't want to put you in a box. I mean, I do want to literally put you in the box just because then I know where you are and I can just like come and visit.
Oh my God. Okay, Christmas spirit. What?
I'm sorry, I was possessed by the spirit of a wish. If it makes you feel any better, I'm in the passenger seat and I'm horrified.
Okay.
Getting back to the very serious lady love. Sometimes we don't notice when we're like kind of over our skis and we are getting by because we don't necessarily notice as people when we are like stretched too thin. We're taking care of everyone around us so much that we don't realize that we're not necessarily okay. Tune in with yourself. This season's really hard. I thought I was paying enough attention. I wasn't. And I was like very much not doing great. I was really, really not doing great. And so I didn't have like some miraculous resolution for what's going on because this season I cannot fast forward. I have not found that button.
Yeah.
But the thing that I was able to do once I tuned in was just give myself a little bit more space to not be all right because that's also okay. So when you have to just kind of carry yourself through, it's much easier if you know that you need like a little bit of extra care or patience and like all of the parts of you that are maybe destructive or engaging in habits that you would rather not. They are trying to do something for you. They're trying to nourish you. They're trying to comfort you. They're trying to keep you safe, etc.
Yeah.
And those parts are okay. They want good things for you. So yeah, just during this really rough season, you are okay, even if you're not okay. And just make time for yourself because you are worth that time.
Yay. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
you. I needed that, actually.
I needed that.
Good.
Thank you for that.
Based on our text conversation, it seemed like all three. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
We're all just not. It's just been a rough year.
We're not
It's
with
been a
it.
rough year. I
We're not
am
with
holding
it.
back tears through own self-worth through her ability to bake.
There we go.
You know what? Love yourself as much as Mrs. Motley loves tea.
Hell yeah. And herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
good
And the
over there.
memories of all of her army of former lovers.
Including when she fucked that astronaut at zero gravity. Okay? Nobody can
Love
tell me
yourself as much
otherwise.
as you love fucking an astronaut at zero gravity.
There we go. Love yourself as much as you love thinking that your dog is the king of all dogs. I can't.
Oh, man.
Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by Melody Carlisle.
Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice review, and of course, tell all your friends about us, even if they don't read romance.
If you want to get in touch, you can email us at heavingbosoms.podcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosoms.podcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult.
Head over to our website to sign up for our newsletter, get our Reading Embrace printable, and check out my audiobooks at heavingbosoms.com. All right, we'll be back next week with more swoons and snark. See you then.
Play the song. I mean,
Okay.
Don't make listener go find, especially what if listener doesn't have Hulu subscription? This is
gosh,
not worth
yeah.
Hulu subscription.
Do you think we can get copyrighted for having this on pod?
No.
Christmas time is coming soon. December 25th. What's the point of Christmas time? Got no one to spend it with. Just make a wish this Christmas. Make it loud, wish it true. 'Cause if you make a wish this Christmas, true love will come in.
What if you wish for true love?
That's a good question. That does not exist in that universe.
True love will come to you. Take a walk in Christmas air. Twinkle lights against the snow. Who will be waiting there for you? Beneath the mistletoe.
I really love your interpretive dance, Kim.
Thank you. I would Kin.
Kin.
This thing is incredible.
I hope you do the intro over this song.
Wowza, everyone.
It's a pob, which is a bop backwards.